Okay, so here's the thing. I'm improvising right now because the video that I was planning, I'm gonna have to put on hold because one of the things that I was going to use was this broken mirror that I decided to fix, or at least try to fix, because I didn't even try to fix it, so I decided to try, so at least I can say that I tried. I don't know where I'm going now with the project, but I'm pivoting. So I have this idea for a time now of doing kind of crochet coif headpiece. So a coif is kind of this medieval, not medieval, chainmail headpiece. It's very iconographic in pop culture. You want. It's very recognizable of knights and medieval. I was thinking of doing something inspired by it, but instead doing a net stitch probably is not gonna have the same effect of a whole stitched coif. It's probably gonna look more like a mermaidy piece or something like that. So that is what I'm doing in this video. Can you tell that I'm improvising because I can't fucking speak? I can't make a fucking sentence. Yeah, this week is, and it's the middle of the week, to be quite honest. I don't know if I'm gonna make this video go out in time. So yeah, improvising. So one of the first things that I did was trying to find how I was gonna start this. Obviously, I had to start with some kind of cap. So I went on YouTube and tried to use some tutorials as guidelines. And the tutorials that I watched were one by It's Erin D on how to crochet kind of a mesh skull cap, and the other one was by Jerry Dedio, I think it's pronounced like that. I'm gonna link both the tutorials in the description box. However, I want to be very clear that I did not follow the tutorial itself. I probably gonna talk about it again later, but I did do some changes. I want my mesh pattern to be a little more visible. Also, I'm not using the same yarn as any of them. I also want to use right now to clarify one thing. This is not a tutorial at all. I'm still kind of a beginner. I have just some projects under my sleeve. Maybe I have a easy time with stuff because of my design graduation, and figure out how things work is kind of my job. Or was supposed to be my job. But I just wanted to reinforce that this is not a tutorial. This is more like general guidelines if you want to do something similar. If you are a really beginner to crochet, you just got a crochet hook yesterday, I don't suggest you to do this right now. Save it and then you come back to it, because and even if the most of the stitches here are double crochets, I did take decisions kind of on the fly, so nothing here is kind of concise and written in beginner friendly way. If you know how to crochet some stuff, you probably could guess what I'm talking about. But again, this is just general guidelines of what I am doing. And just before I forget, this project was kind of ruminating in my head because I did some mesh gloves, like fingerless gloves, and then they kind of seem like a chainmail kind of glove situation, and I thought, why don't do the headpiece to go with it? So that is how I got the idea. But yeah, I think I said everything I needed to say, and I'm gonna pop in when I feel like I need to clarify something or when it's kind of necessary. Okay, so here's the thing. I did it 5 rows of increasing in here. So in her video, she does 6 rows for extra small, 7 for a small, 8 for a medium, and etc etc. You know, you increase as you need the size. However, for mine, there are a couple things that are different. First, we are using the same hook. This is a 5mm hook. However, I don't know the weight of my yarn or thread. This is recycled cotton yarn that my mom had, and I, just stolen, and she was not using it. But I did like 5 rows, and the school part that she does actually fit my head. And the reason for that is because I'm making the mesh stitch larger. So she does only one chain between each spaces, and I do 2. I start every row in here with a 5, and I do 2 stitches between each double crochet. I do 2 chains. The 5 in the start is just so I can have the height of the double crochet, which is 3 plus 2, that is my 2 chains in here. That is why I was able to have a smaller number of chains a smaller number of rows, and still have the right size. After the 5th row, I just starting to do the body part, which is just keep up with the mesh stitch without any increasing. My only problem now is that I don't think I have enough thread for what I want. I want this to go to my shoulders. I'm probably gonna talk about when the whole cap part is ready and I see how it fits. But right now, this is what I'm going with. I hope it works. I don't know, maybe I had to redo it. Let me go back into work and see how much rows of the body I'm gonna have to do. But yeah, for now, this is it. Okay, so this is where we add, and now I'm gonna start, I'm gonna decide which side I'm gonna start doing the rest of it. I didn't check the back, so I hope it's fine. But just to have kind of a reference point, this should go like over my shoulders, so it's gonna be very long. So I hope it's not too long in the back, but I can see it. And it's kind of big, but I'm going for a looser fit. So because a coif is kind of loose, yeah, I hope that is big enough, like it's loose enough, not to the point that it's gonna fall off my head. So I'm probably gonna go to a mirror and see it, if where exactly I want to start doing the sides. I'm probably gonna start from here and then, kind of going like this. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but here's the hairpin, and it's kind of weird because I have to tuck my hair to see it, but I did it kind of in the height of my eyebrows, and in total I have like 10 spaces between one and the other, So now I'm just gonna start doing the kind of chainmail part, like the not the chainmail part, like the body part, kind of. So yeah, but before that, I'm gonna eat because I'm hungry. Okay, so here it is, and I don't know how it's on the back, but the thing is, I think I'm gonna undo this rows and use like and redo. Actually, no, I'm gonna redo this fourth row and increase in here because I wanted to like open up a little bit more. So yeah, I just gonna do that, but I learned that from here to here is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for me 6, and then I would chain and close and kind of continue, but I want to increase in the actually here, right, in the third row. So 1, 2, and then sorry, 1, 2, and then the third I'm gonna probably increase. I don't know how much increases I'm gonna do, so let me just do that and then I tell you how much increases I did. Okay, so actually I counted how many stitches do I have, and I have 16. However, I said that that I was going to start in the third, but thinking about it, I probably gonna start in the second, because then it does this. So it's like soft, the kind of the tapering that it does. And I don't know if I increased in the second one or I could increase in the first two. I just don't know. I'm gonna try the second, and if I think that is too much, if I think it doesn't does the effect that I wanted, I probably gonna do in the first one. Yeah, that's a lot of undo and redo, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants now, so I'm gonna improvise as I go. So whatever I was saying, scrap that. I'm gonna start increasing in the first row. Okay, I just did 4 rows of increasing from row 1 of the extension here that I did, and it's kind of looking like this. Back, I actually don't know how the back looks, so I probably not gonna do any more increases. If I did need to do any increasing, I will say, but for now I don't think I need. I already got the slope that I wanted here, so I probably just gonna keep doing single crochets without any increasing in the rows. And as from the size, this is like hitting my jawline. Yes, it's hitting my jawline, and I think I will do a row until I'm just gonna close in a row that is kind of half of my neck. Like, I think I'm gonna close in probably in the next row. In row 4, probably gonna close in row 5 or 6. I don't know yet. I'm saying a lot of probablys because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I already undid a bunch of this like 3 or 4 times now because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, let me continue. So So sorry about the lighting, but it's getting dark. I tried to do the chains in here, and I did the 5th row in here, and as you can see, is not what I wanted. So I'm gonna have to undo all of this and this row, and I'm probably gonna do it in the 4th row, where I did the last increase. So yeah, I'm very mad because I have undone and redone this many times, but that is what we do when we are kind of improvising. Sorry, my tripod was there. But also I'm gonna have to find how much chains I need for this, and I thought this was going to be a kind of fast project. I mean, it is. I think I could be way diligent with my doing of this, though. Yeah, this is not good. Okay, let me go. Okay, and for some reason I just went mute one time. I was kind of mad because I have to redo so many times. I was just showing the chain that I did, and for me, for the size of opening that I wanted, I did 19 chains. Okay, so the way that I decided to do this is more like this. From the place where my double crochet is, I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, and I'm just gonna place my double crochet in the 3rd one. Okay. And then I'm gonna chain 1 and 2, and then I'm gonna count from where my double crochet is 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna do another double crochet in here. So, and chain 2, and then I'm gonna do this until I get into my chain 3. Oh, sorry, get into back into the start of the row, and I'm gonna chain. Oh, I'm gonna slip stitch in the 3rd one. So in here, what it would happen is that my 3rd stitch fall in here. I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm chain 2 in my double crochet. I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to slip stitch in here and close, and then I'm gonna chain 5, and I'm gonna keep going with my row of double crochets until I'm satisfied with the size. Also, here at the beginning of the chains of the gap, the chains of this junction part right here, or from where I did the same thing. I count 1, 2, 3, and then I did a double crochet in the 3rd, and I just keep going until here. So yeah, this is it. This is how I made this part, this junction part. And these are some mid-project close-ups of how the headpiece was looking until that moment, and I'm just showing you how it looks from the back, from the sides, how the drape is, where it falls, how I position in my head. I'm showing you close-ups. Okay, so this is the only way that I can get the whole thing in one shot. So I hope the camera angle is good enough. but just so I can be kind of concise, I guess this is the word that I want, with the things that I do. I want to give enough guidelines if you want to do something similar. After I finish the cap part in this row of the little hat, I think people call it a school cap, I don't know. Anyway, after I finish the body part, I count from one tempo to the other tempo. Yeah, I counted how many mesh stitches I have, and from then I mark it on both sides of the double crochets. And to make these rows, what I did is I did 4 rows and I was increasing in each one of them. So in the first row I increase every 6 double crochets. So I counted 6, and then I don't know if you can see it, but I increase, yeah, and then I count more 6 and I increase again. It's the second row. I did an increase in every 5th stitch, so I count 5, and then I did an increase on the 5th stitch. And for the third row, every 4 stitches, and for the 4th row, every 3rd stitch. And then for me, I did 4 rows and it hit the middle of my neck, kind of. You might need less, you might need more. In the 4th row, which for me hit the middle of my neck, I did a chain connecting or reconnecting the 2 sides. So I have the opening of my face. I counted 19 stitches. I made a chain of 19 and I just slip stitch in the other side, and from there I did 7 rows without any increase of double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this hit me kind of in the shoulders. So now I'm kind of deciding what I'm going to do. Like I said, I think I'm gonna do kind of enlarge my back. However, there is many ways you can actually finish this. You can do some kind of decorative stitch in the border. You can do a row of single crochets. You can do whatever you like, but I don't have enough yarn. Okay, so what I was talking about of a decorative stitch is kind of this. I'm gonna chain like 4, no, actually, no, let me chain more. I'm gonna chain 8, no, 6, 4, 5, 6, okay, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I actually lie, I chain 5, and then I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, and then in the third one, I mean, this is an example. You can do shorter. You just wanna your chain to be relatively bigger than the space that you're doing this. So I'm gonna chain in the third one and slip stitch my chain, and then I'm gonna chain 1, lock in. In this case, you can do this first in the whole entirety of the border of your project. To be honest, you can do this on whatever you're doing, and then you come back and do the actual, and then you come back and do the actual decorative stitch. So here you can do whatever you want. You can do a very specific stitch, you can do double crochets, you can do single crochets, you can do, I think you can do half crochets, but I don't know. So I'm gonna do like single crochets just so you can see. And slip stitch again. So as you can see, creates this kind of border in the thing. In the back, you chain and you create this kind of border. You can actually just do single crochets all the way in here without any kind of spacing between them. The thing is, this is gonna take a lot of yarn. So if you have yarn enough, you can do this with no problems, and you're probably gonna get a very neat kind of finish. You kind of create a border in the edge and just finish. The problem is this is gonna take too much yarn, and I don't have yarn enough. So for me, I'm just going to slip stitch in here and close my work like I did, chain one and cut it in here and tie this edge off. Okay, so for putting my thread again in my project, what I think is better for me to do is I yarn over, pull back, make a chain, and then I'm gonna grab this tail, pull, and then I'm gonna pass this tail to this chain, and then I'm just gonna knot it. So I have a tail to weave in my project. This is not going anywhere. It's a little bit bulky, yes, but I think it's more secure. It has been some days since I recorded the last clip, and I just wanna pop in to show you this idea that you can do these triangles in the border of the coif. If you know how to decrease, this is probably gonna be very easy to you. Mine is kind of sloppy because I'm not very sure of what I am doing, but yeah, I just wanted to show one more idea for how to finish the border. Okay, sorry if you can hear my fan in the background, but what I'm planning to do is like taper until it forms a point in the back. The easiest way is actually decreasing until a point, and that is basically what I'm gonna do. However, to decrease a mesh stitch is very different than decreasing just normal crochet, just normal stitches of crochet. So I'm gonna let the tutorial that I'm using in the description of the video, because she can explain way better than I would, I think. However, I will show you how I am doing things, because I might do things a little bit more different, but in essence is exactly what she's doing in the video. So okay, what I'm planning is to decrease in 2 stitches every row until I either run out of rows and only have to do a point, or I run out of yarn. Okay, so I'm in the end of the row and I have only 3 stitches to do. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab, after I chain the 2, that is the space of my mesh, I'm gonna double crochet in here, and I'm gonna do exactly what she does in this part, which is finish the double crochet, and then I'm gonna do 1, 2, and 3 yarn overs, like I'm going to do a treble crochet, I guess that is the name, She called it a double treble crochet, and I'm gonna jump this mesh stitch. I'm gonna jump this and gonna directly to my end, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull to the loops. And different of her, as she just yarn over and pull to all the 3 loops that are here. Wait a second. So she pulled through all the 3 loops in her hook. What I'm going to do different is that I'm only gonna pull to 2 of them, and then I'm gonna close the stitch. And I'm doing this because I think this space looks a little more similar. Like this space created in here looks a little more similar to the space that I create in the first part. Also, in this first part I use 5 like she said, but yeah, this is the only thing that I'm doing different. The rest stays the same. And yeah, I'm probably gonna meet you when I finish this, and this is the last part to this project. So yeah, let's finish this thing. So I just came back where I started my decreasing rows, and in her videos she comments about it, how you sometimes it's better to enter in the second stitch. In my case, I'm going the 3rd stitch of the chain, mostly because I think it's gonna keep the length of the mesh stitch similar, and I thought that it would be interesting just to mention, so let me do that. So I got to the end, and now I only have 1 single crochet, 2 mesh spaces, and a chain. And I started by chaining 6. Actually I changed while I was doing the drape, let's call it that part, and I changed to 6 because I think it will look better. To finish it up, I'm gonna do the double triple crochet. So I'm gonna start with the double just like we are doing while we are finishing our rows. So I'm gonna start half finish a double crochet, yarn over 3 loops, then I'm gonna get into the 3rd chain space, pull up a loop, and then pull through 2 loops, and then I'm just gonna pull to them 3 times until I have 2 loops in my hook, and then I'm just gonna finish and chain 1, cut my yarn, and pull really tight, and that's it. So here it is, all finished. This is the front. Hope you can see it. Can you? Yeah, this is the front. This is the back with the point in the drape. I still have to try it on, but yeah, this is all done, and I still have a little bit of yarn. So yeah, this part is finished. Okay, so I forgot to say that I had to weave my ends, which I did. Using the most unpractical needle is the only one that I could pass the yarn through. So yeah, just that tidbit. this is the mess that I have to do to be able to take a picture of myself. Only bad part about these ones is that they fall. Start to fall. And I have to open a window. And it's so fucking hot.